Alright everyone, this is Ethan Ward here from Word Tech Reviews, and we have a pretty special product here for you today. My feelings about the Bitfenix Neos here is they're a little, I guess you could say, mixed, but it's a really interesting case, and you know, it's for a very kind of specific group of people. But anyway, I'll go ahead and roll the intro and then we'll get into it. Okay, so before I even start the review, I just want to go ahead and thank Bitfenix for sending us this wonderful case here. We're really lucky to have it here, and there's a little surprise inside that I'll show you that we're lucky to have too. So anyway, to start off with the case, I want to go ahead and start off with a kind of physical overview of how it looks. And so, you know, I'll go ahead and I'll try and get some nice photos, but right now my tripod's not good for B-roll, so it'll just be pictures kind of overlaid while I'm talking. So I'm going to go ahead in here and just kind of show you though the front. As you can see, it's a blue front, and it's got the Bitfenix logo down at the bottom. Now here, this is perforated on part of it, but not all of it. So it's part of it is obviously going to be metal behind it, but it's to create a flush look in the front. And so far, actually, you can tell it's a really clean-looking case. Now, I do want to mention something before I continue, is that you can actually get a windowed version of this. It costs, I think, about $20 more, and it's good to show off the components inside here, but make sure you buy a really nice power supply, and we'll get into that one later. So, anyway, down on the top here, you might be able to see it. I'll try and get a photo of this one here. So you have a USB 3.0, a USB 2.0, your audio in and out, and then you have your reset button and your power button. Now, the reset button's a little bigger than I'd like, but you're not going to accidentally press it very easily. You have to really get your finger down in there to press it. And then on both sides, a lot of nothing going on this particular model, because we didn't get the windowed version. And then on the back here, we have where your power supply goes in, we have your PCI Express slots, and a cover to cover up the area where you screw in your PCI Express cards. The I/O cut out, obviously. And then right back here, we have some water cooling grommets. I'm not quite sure why they included that on such a small chassis. This really isn't something you should water cool in pretty much at all. This is not a water cooling friendly case. This is a smaller case, as you can see. And just in case I didn't mention it earlier, this is a mid-tower case, but it's a very small mid-tower case, as you can probably see. So, to continue on with the interior really quick, we got the side panels will pop off. Now, they're a little flexible, but not too bad. The only thing is I really don't like this mounting mechanism that they're using with these kind of squeeze tabs. Especially on the cable management side, you're going to have issues when you put it on because you have to push the entire thing down kind of with both arms and then slide it in order to get all the tabs in along with the front side tabs here. I don't like that. I'd like to see Bitfenix implement something else. But overall, the side panels are good, and they feel pretty sturdy, and they look nice. They're really well painted. The paint doesn't scratch off easy or anything as far as we could tell. So we've had quite a bit of experience with this. We've actually built in it twice. So, to go on with the inside here, as you can see, we've got the cables still hanging here, which might look a little messy, but I have a reason for these being here. So, I'll kind of get into that here in just a second, but I just want to say we'll give you some pictures of the completed build that we built in this, so you guys can see what it looks like when it's really cleaned up and nice, which I think we did a really good job. It turned out great. So anyway, we have your 3 2.5-inch hard drive bays right here, and then 3 3.5-inch hard drive bays. So you've got plenty of storage options here, and I really like how the 2.5-inch drive bay is it's scooted over, and so you don't have the kind of 3.5 or 2.5 option. They were able to make sure there's more room for longer graphics card support here. So that's a really nice feature. And also something you might notice is all the edges here, even though there's not a lot of like plastic, it's all metal, these edges here are really well rounded, and so you're not going to be cutting yourself in this case at all. I mean, even if you tried, you probably wouldn't be able to cut yourself in this case. It's really well built. And so we're impressed by that. And we also love these right here for mounting your 5.25-inch bays. They actually come all the way out. Now these parts are plastic, but again, almost no plastic on this case. These parts, they come out and you can actually put them in the hole you want, because I've had time and time again where for whatever reason my 5.25-inch bay has a really weird hole pattern layout, and I'm not able to use some of the hot swappable bays because the pin doesn't go in the right spot. On here though, you can actually choose which of those holes, and then you can mount it in like that. So see how it's moved over. You can do that, which is really nice to have that kind of modularity there. So to continue on here with the power supply and all the cables, I wanted to show you something about the cables. Part of the reason I left them hanging here is I want to show you just how nice these are. These are the ones that come with the case, obviously, your front panel. And these are really, really nice. I couldn't be much more impressed with these. I mean, of course, you know, it'd be nice if the cable went up a little further, because you have the colored wires here, but they are all black, and they are really, really clean. And, you know, I mean, I guess I'm not really going to mention pricing, you guys can look that up yourselves, but in a case with this price point, you should probably expect nice cables, but it's just nice to see that because so many manufacturers aren't including the all-black cables, which really look nice, especially in the black and white themed case, obviously. And then I also wanted to mention that getting a power supply that has really nice sleeved cables and not ones that you can see through is extremely important in this build. There's very little cable management room, so you see pretty much all of the cables. And we'll get onto the cable management side here in just a second, but I want to mention that these, we got the Bitfenix 750G, the Fury 750G power supply here. It's a 750 watt modular power supply, fully modular, and it's got some pretty awesome cables here. They're kind of like the Bitfenix Alchemy custom sleeved cables that you can get extensions for to put in any build, but these come with the power supply. They're longer and they are really, really excellently built. And so in some of the final build pictures, that's probably one of the things you'll really notice is it looks really good even though you can see all the cables because they're really nice cables. So if you buy this case, please don't get a power supply that doesn't look good. You're going to be disappointed on the interior look. If you don't care about the interior look, well, that's up to you, and that's another group that this case is for, which I'll get into in a little bit. So, and then also I just wanted to mention that on the top you have no cooling. I don't quite understand that. They could have easily fit one or two 120mm fans up here, which would have made sense for like some kind of all-in-one liquid cooler, but I guess the argument to that would be that it takes over some of the rigidity of the case because it's already fairly thin, but the case is really well built. Again, I want to keep emphasizing that this case, there's nothing flexes in it. It's all really solid. These are some of the most solid hard drive cages I have personally ever seen. So I want to mention that to not knock this case in any way for being on the lackluster side of some of the nice features that a lot of other cases in the same price point have. But it would have been kind of nice to see it in here, but then you wouldn't really be able to fit it, I don't think, just because of the compactness of the case. So, and it would also take over some of the overall clean looks where, as you can see, it's just an accent on the front and then white everywhere, which looks really good from the outside. So, turning around to the cable management side, I'm going to take this side panel off. And as you can see, those nice cables there, they do matter. You have no cable management grommets, which is a slight complaint from me because I feel they put liquid cooling grommets on something like this that you really probably aren't going to use. I mean, maybe one person used it, but that's about it. But then everybody would use them if they were here instead. So I think putting the grommets here would have made more sense. But at the same time, it's a really well-rounded metal part here. You're not going to be cutting any of your cables or your fingers if you're feeding cables through there. It's really, really well built. And so again, the grommets aren't necessary. And also, though, that does prove that it's more important, even so, to have the nice cables because you can see through them. There's no grommets to cover up the ugly cables. So nice cables is really, really important. Black SATA cables, black power supply cables, black I/O cables. Those are important. So you can see the side of the power supply through here, actually, which kind of probably it gives you a little hint of just how thin this case is. Back here on the cable management, right here, there's basically nothing. You might be able to run a couple fan cables here. That is it. And not necessarily that you need to, except for the one from the rear fan there. It's really, really compact on the other side, which I kind of wish they made it a little wider, but that's not really, the more cable management room is tuning towards a higher end build, which this case isn't exactly for the ultra high end. It's for, kind of the little bit more budget oriented, but still want it to look really nice, compared to, as you can see back there, the N2 Primo that I have. That's obviously for a high end expensive build. That, so it's kind of a different category there, and I'm used to building in the higher end cases. So some of my complaints might be they might not be right on because of the fact that this is not necessarily a style I've done before, but I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can about this case as possible. So also though, I do want to say with the cable management room, there is a little cutout right here where you route all your big cables. So you will fit the big cables in here, that's not a problem, but you're not going to be routing anything behind the motherboard. I should have clarified that a little better. So, and that cutout here drops down in with the 5/4 inch space too. So you've got more cable management room where your hard drives go. So you'll be able to plug in all your SATA cables and everything like that to the hard drives without issues. Then here we have the rear access to the hard drive cages, which is really nice. It's nice, but I don't know. I mean, I think having it come out on the rear would be better. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but I think if the hard drive cages, if the clips and everything, if they pulled out on the back, but then again, you know, you'd have to mount the hard drives different and stuff, and so it's just a personal thing there, because if you get the windowed version of this, it'd be nice to have the hard drives a little more cleaned up. But I think that overall it's a really, really good build, and the cages are actually back fairly far, so when you plug in the cables, even those long, you know, if you have a power supply that has extra long power cables for your SATA connectors, they aren't going to conflict with the side of the panel. You're going to be able to plug them in, no problem. So, and that's an important factor in such a minute case, you know. So, there's kind of the overview of the internals. Now, I'm going to go over one more thing. That's the front here when I'm taking this off. So, I'm going to cut to that. Okay, everyone, so I'm back here with the front, and as you can see, I took off the front panel here. The front panel, this is the plastic part. It's got the metal grill in front, and then you've got your filters here for your fans, and then you've also got some filters in case you do a negative pressure design. I don't know exactly how you do that, but you know, the air that comes in through here is going to be filtered as well. So it's a nice front panel. I hope you guys can see that all right. So I also apologize if we have a little bit poor lighting in here. Anyway, though, the nice thing too, this is something we're seeing in cases more and more, and I'm really impressed by it, and it's something that kind of needs to be an absolute necessity on a case that has the front panel, the front piece come off, is you need to have it so that these buttons here and, you know, your front I/O and everything are built into the case body itself and not into the case front panel, so that you don't break your cables when you try and pull one of these off. And that's something that they did in this case, where if you pull it off, you can pull it really hard and not have to worry about stretching any cables, because it's not going to pull on any since they're all permanently attached here. So then we've got your two front 5 1/4 inch bays. So you've got two of them there, again, two. And these ones are the ones that you pop out, so you pop them out, and you can, I think though, it looks like you can put them back in, because they do have the kind of cutouts so that you can screw them into the front in case you did want to put the covers back, which is nice, because a lot of covers are permanently removed once you pull them out. And then we've got your fan filter here, which this is a nicer fan filter than the one built into the front panel, and it's pretty well built. It's not really going to block your airflow very much. It's for 120mm fans, and I like it. You know, it's not too flimsy. It's really, really thick plastic. It's some of the thicker fan filters I've seen. In fact, probably one of the thickest. And you mount the fans to this, actually. So that's an important factor, too. If you have really slimline fans, you might be able to fit them on this side and in there. But you can also mount them on the outside, because as you can see, this is really thick plastic here. You've got space to mount your fans on the front. So, yeah, I mean, you couldn't... radiator wouldn't even really work, though. There'd be no way to get the tubing into the front. But again, this is not a liquid cooling friendly case. So, there you have that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I guess we'll play some B-roll or something maybe, or throw some photos up there, and then I'll go ahead and jump to my conclusion. Okay, so it's conclusion time, but there's actually one last thing I want to mention that I forgot to throw in there, and that is the CPU cutout here, for if you were to put a custom cooler on here, which you can obviously do that, not a liquid cooler, but some fairly large heatsink cooler, since the cable management side is so thin. You've actually got quite a bit of room for a big cooler. The CPU cutout here for the back plate is kind of moved to the right, and depending on your motherboard, most motherboards, your CPU is going to be more like over here. And so you're going to have to kind of slide the backplate in there. I'm not sure why this wasn't moved over. So that's my final little complaint about it, but at least it's there. You know, on this style of case, at least they included it. Okay, so with the conclusion, and this is my second time doing the conclusion because there was an interruption, so sorry about the kind of jump there. But anyway, so overall, the Bitfenix Neos is a case for a very particular group of person, and that's how cases should be. I feel that they should be built with a purpose, not built to suit everyone, because no case is going to suit everyone. Now, personally for me, I would not like to use this case, but that's because that's not the type of build that I would do. Now, for something like a server or a decent gaming rig that you would like to look really pretty on your desk or something, this is really good for. It's not a case you really want to hide away because it looks really pretty on the outside. It's very cleaned up. And I could easily see somebody putting this next to a couple monitors and, you know, a nice keyboard and having kind of a black and white setup. It'd look really nice with some blue accents, you know, blue LEDs on the keyboard or whatever. It would match really well. And I also want to say that the case is built of the utmost quality that I've seen on a case in this price point and this size. It doesn't necessarily have the little features like the liquid cooling, or the cable management grommets, but everything is very rounded off. All the metal is very sturdy. Nothing flexes. I mean, even, you know, the hard drive, or the motherboard plate here looks thin, but I can only move it about 1 millimeter. It is really, really solidly built, and I'm impressed by that. Bitfenix has always done a good job with build quality, but this kind of almost shows a next level of quality when it comes to something like that, because it's just really, really well built. They didn't skimp on anything and make little things kind of, you know, flimsy or anything. I mean, these hard drive cages, they don't move at all. I can't even move them. So that's really impressive, and if you're looking for a build that can be taken to LAN parties also, for example, this might be a case that you really want to consider, because it's a mid-tower, so you're going to get all that support for a large power supply, large graphics cards, many hard drives, a really fairly high-end rig that you can build in here, but it's going to be very portable because it's a small mid-tower. So that's a nice thing is, if you don't want to drop down to the micro ATX system because you want to build like, you know, a dual GPU system or something, this will do it. And it'll do it really well, and it'll look very clean. Now, if you do get the windowed version, please get a Bitfenix power supply or some other power supply. There's a few out there that have really nice cables. Nothing really compares to these braided cables here, of course. But don't just get extensions. Get a power supply that has a direct connection to the nice cables, because you can see every cable that comes out of the power supply really well in the windowed version. So that is overall my review of the Bitfenix Neos here. I hope you guys liked it. And let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this, and you know, if you like case reviews, or if you want to see reviews of other computer hardware, or maybe some tutorials on how to do stuff. Please like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and let us know in the comment section what you think of the case and what you think of the videos. We really care about your feedback, and it'd be great for Bitfenix to know how people really are feeling about this case. But I think overall it's really, really nice. And if you're looking for a case in this price point and this size, it's definitely an option you should consider. So there is actually one small thing that I forgot to mention in the video you just watched, which if you made it to this part, congratulations, because this is probably the part you've all been waiting for. So as you just watched, I just reviewed the Bitfenix Neos mid-tower case, and it's a pretty great case, and we actually decided that we're going to go ahead and give it away to you guys. So in order to enter the giveaway, all you need to do is you go down in the link in the video description, and it'll take you to a place where you can subscribe to us. That's the primary thing you have to do, and then after that there's a lot of other additives that you can do to go ahead and get more entries. Now tell your friends about this and stuff so that maybe they can get a chance to win too, and we're hoping that you guys, you know, end up really liking it. It's I think it's going to be a really fun thing for us to do. Now, we'll cover shipping, and I also want to mention one very important detail, that it is national only. So here in the USA, we will not be shipping out of the USA just because for a case that's too expensive for us currently. But anywhere in the United States, we will go ahead and do the shipping and do the giveaway. So yeah, we love to do giveaways, and we plan to do some more this year if we're able to. We'll see how things end up working out. But just go ahead and enter the giveaway. It's worth a try. It only takes a couple clicks, and it helps us out a lot. So we hope whoever wins this case really enjoys it. I think it'll be a great case. One last important detail will be that it does not come with the Fury 750G power supply. It only comes with the case. So don't expect it to come with the power supply that you saw that was in the case during the video. Just the case, it's the case only. But don't worry, all the screws and everything will be included as well and all that. So go ahead and enter, and also leave your comments to let us know what you think. Thank you.